Welcome to today's edition of the Career 100 podcast. Your host, Felicia Gopal, founder of collegefundingresource.com, will be interviewing professionals each week currently working in one of the top careers. We want to expose you to the varied and distinguished careers of our guests and to perhaps inspire you into considering following in their footsteps. Or better yet, blaze your own trail. So sit back and relax as Felicia interviews professionals about how they came to be in the top careers.
And in my mind, what makes financial planning a top career is flexibility and freedom. I think that's what makes financial planning incredible. You get to see the difference that great planning makes in the lives of your clients. But everyone can benefit from financial planning, and I think that's what motivates me.
Hello, this is your host, Felicia Gopal. This is episode 101 of the Career 100. We're continuing our series on the top 100 careers featuring the profession of financial planner. In particular, we're talking to a certified financial planner. When I first entered the profession of financial planning, I went through the phone book and called all the CFPs in it. Listening to them talk to me about their businesses and their practices helped me make the decision to change careers. Over the past 20 years, I've come to know lots of financial planners, but the gold standard in my point of view is someone who holds the CFP designation. Today's guest is Margarita Cheng, who is the Chief Executive Officer at Blue Ocean Global Wealth. Prior to co-founding Blue Ocean Global Wealth, she was a financial advisor at Ameriprise Financial, as well as an analyst and editor at Toa Securities in Tokyo, Japan. Rita has been quoted and featured in numerous national publications. She's a CFP professional like myself, and she also serves on the CFP Board of Standards as an ambassador. Margarita helps educate the public, policy makers, and media about the benefits of competent, ethical financial planning. It is my pleasure to welcome today's guest, Rita Cheng.
Thank you so much, Felicia, for having me. I'm so excited about our profession.
Well, thank you. Of course, I have a little bit of a bias, and I talked a little bit about my road to becoming a financial planner, and I went, of course, on to become a CFP professional. Talk to me about how you entered the profession. Was it something you always wanted to do, or did it develop out of a course, a person?
Sure. I think I've always been a planner at heart. My dad taught me how to read value line, and this is very bittersweet for me because I just lost my dad earlier this year. My dad immigrated. He came to this country, and my dad only had $17 in his wallet. And his family lost everything twice in China. He told me, he said, Rita, you never want to measure your self-worth by your net worth. I believed that if I learned how to manage my time, money, and health well, I can do anything. There's nothing that I can't do. You can accomplish anything you want. So in college, I did study East Asian language and literature and finance. I really believe I'm right brain and left brain, which serves us very well as we prepare to serve our clients. A combination of qualitative and quantitative skills. And I love making a positive difference in the lives of my clients. Like I said, I was destined to be a planner.
Got it. My father was also one of the people that was instrumental in helping me learn about finances, so I understand, how bittersweet this is for you, and I'm sorry to hear about your father. What sorts of problems do your clients come to you with that they're trying to get you to help solve?
Sure. So many of our clients come to us because they want to plan to reach their life financial goals, whether these are younger clients that want to purchase a home, start a family, or clients who want to know how to prepare to send their children to college, and then people planning for retirement and retirees, just making sure they can have good quality of life in retirement. So the bottom line is I think clients want to work with a certified financial planner, professional, CFP professional, to gain clarity, confidence, and control over their financial lives.
I like that. Clarity, confidence, and control over their lives. Yes, that is why people want to work with a CFP professional. So, are there any myths or misconceptions about being a CFP professional?
Well, sure, there are, but I'm just going to explain a little bit about what I mean about the three C's, and that can actually segue into the misconception
All
or
right.
misunderstanding. So basically, what I mean by clarity, how to reach your goals, a lot of times clients have the best of intention. They read the newspaper or magazine or go online, and they look for good investments. What clarity is understanding what your options are and making the right decisions for you, your family, and your unique situation. Confidence comes from simplicity. It's really powerful when you know that you made the right decision for your situation. And then when you have confidence and clarity about the decisions you're making, you really feel more in control of your future. You feel like you're in control of your money and the money is not controlling you. So, what are some common myths or misconceptions about being a financial planner? Most people just focus on investments. Now, that of course, we need to save and invest for our future to fund our goals, but financial planning is the process of meeting your life goals through the proper management of your financial resources. And these goals may include purchasing a home, saving for college, building up cash reserves, paying down student loan debt, planning for retirement. It's important to note that financial planning is a process. It's not a transaction. So I would say we spend a lot of time, as you can appreciate, being a fellow CFP board ambassador, educating the public on, gosh, what is financial planning and what do CFP, Certified Financial Planner professionals, do?
So let me kind of step back and ask, how are we different from other types of people who call themselves financial planners?
Sure. So as I mentioned, investments are very important, but they're just one component of an integrated financial plan. What a financial planner does that I think is really special is we help clients understand how a decision in one area of their life or their financial life can affect another area. So I'll give you an example. We meet with clients and we work to help them manage both sides of the balance sheet. So we help them manage their assets. We also need to help them manage their liabilities. So for example, if someone has a mortgage, does it make sense for them to refinance? There were some people who could not refinance shortly after the global financial crisis because they didn't have enough equity. So in this case, let's just say a family is able to save $784 a month. That's great. Their mortgage payment has gone down. What do we do with that $784? Do we save more for their retirement plan? And if we do that, that's obviously going to affect their cash flow, their retirement savings, and their taxes. So a financial planner really helps clients understand and adopt a big picture integrative approach to the decisions they make.
Yes. So oftentimes we are looking at things as the way that I would sum up what you were just saying is we're often looking at it from a holistic standpoint. We're not just looking at one side of, as you said, the balance sheet. We're really looking at all sides of their balance sheet and how they work together.
Absolutely.
Perfect. If you had the opportunity to go back and talk to a young Rita and give her advice, what advice would you give yourself knowing what you know now about your profession?
Sure. So I think earlier on, I might have been under pressure to work with as many people as possible. I realized that just as much as clients interview us, meaning the professional, we should be interviewing clients to make sure it's a good fit. And what I mean about good fit is not just how much money people have to invest. It's two steps. Do you want my help? Are you open to receiving help? And are you going to implement that help? Because at the end of the day, I say this to my clients and they all laugh. Happy clients are the best clients. And how you become happy isn't so much about the rate of return. It's not about that. It's about clients feeling that they're progressing towards reaching their life goals. So that's the advice that I would give myself.
Absolutely. So it sounds like you're somebody who loves what it is that they do. So let me ask you, what gets you up in the morning to serve your clients?
I would say I absolutely love financial planning because it's applicable to all people. Financial planning is global. It transcends cultural, social, and wealth boundaries. I find it emotionally gratifying and intellectually stimulating. And I love knowing the difference we're able to make in the lives of our clients. Our clients become our friends, and it is our job to help our clients plan for the future, whether it's good times or bad times. And like I said, I did just lose my dad. My dad was very smart when it came to investing. He taught me how to read value line. But it's really important that we help our clients who eventually become friends plan for their future.
Absolutely. On the flip side of that is there anything that keeps you up when you think about serving your clients?
Sure. I think what keeps me up at night is there's a lot of misinformation. And the other thing that keeps me up at night is I feel like a lot of people, very much have the abundance mentality. I think that, let's just say, I live in Maryland, and that's right outside of D.C., our nation's capital. I very much have the abundance mentality, meaning I want as many people to have access to good advice. I don't view it as the scarcity mentality because I view that the more people who have access to better advice, they'll make better decisions. We have stronger families, we have stronger neighborhoods, we have stronger communities. We'll be stronger as a nation. So what really keeps me up at night is the fact that consumers really have no way of being able to distinguish good advice from bad advice. And the other thing that keeps me up at night, this is related to this, is I feel like things are getting better, but trust was at an all-time low and skepticism was an all-time high. That's what keeps me up at advice. I don't want people to lose faith in planning for the future.
That's really powerful what you just said. There were two things that really kind of stuck in my mind. One was one of the things that kept you up at night is that consumers don't necessarily know the difference between good advice and bad advice. And, that's something that I completely agree with. So how do you, as a CFP professional, help them distinguish that the advice that you're giving is good advice versus what they might find on the internet or through other types of planners? And that's not to say other types of planners are not professional. It's just that, as I said before in my introduction, I think that CFP professionals are the gold standard in the industry.
Sure. Well, we spend a lot of time educating our clients. My clients tend to be more multicultural and more diverse. They're very much like me. Perhaps their parents didn't have a lot. Their parents invested so much in their future so they could have a better life. So many clients, they didn't necessarily learn about investing from their dad. And it's my job to make sure they really understand. So we spend a lot of time understanding investments and understanding their benefits at work. And basically, I pretty much tell people my job is not to talk over you, meaning my job is not to talk down to you or talk over you. I want to make sure that you understand things. So I really want to empower them with knowledge so they feel comfortable making the right decisions. So we talk about the financial planning process, how it's a process and not a product. And we also tell our clients that this is a long-term relationship, meaning you're not expected to implement everything in your financial planning the first year of an engagement. How you derive the most value from financial planning is just working at it every day. It is a process, and we get stronger financially and wiser financially every day.
So you and I both know what the financial planning process is, but for our listeners, they might not be familiar with it. Could you kind of talk about the financial planning process?
Sure. So financial planning, the first thing that you do is you discuss what makes sense and how you want to work with your financial planning professional. During that step, you're going to share your goals, your dreams, and your fears. Then after that meeting, you may decide whether you want to work together. The advisor is going to ask you, qualitative questions. For example, we're just going to use college. What does that mean to you, helping send your kid to college? Does that mean public or private? To what capacity? I purposely brought up college because I know you help families with that. Quantitative means looking at the data, the numbers, the facts. And then the third step would be analysis, where the advisor goes behind the scenes, analyzes everything, looks at all areas of the client's financial life, and develops a plan. The next step is presenting the plan or going over the analysis. After going over the analysis, snapshot of where the client is today, it comes time to implement, meaning let's take steps so that you can progress towards your goals, and then finally take action and monitor. So it's really important, even if you believe your life hasn't changed that much, meaning same job, same neighborhood, same house, the world around our clients' lives has changed. So, for example, people can contribute more to their IRAs, they can contribute more to their 401ks, there might be change in tax laws, stock market changes, interest rate movement. So it's important that we are doing the ongoing monitoring because it is a process.
You know, you're right. It is a process. And I think sometimes it seems like clients who have not worked with a planner in the past, they're thinking more transactional, like, okay, help me with this one problem and then I'm going to go away. But really it's about a relationship. And as you said, it's often we're working with our clients for multiples of years. Would you agree?
Oh, I definitely agree. And it's so important. I mean, I basically let my clients know we probably do most of the work, meaning getting to know one another, gathering data the first, year or two of the engagement. But then once clients start to feel comfortable, I have clients that sometimes I may not see regularly, but they can email me. I'm going to answer their question. Just an example, one of my clients wanted to refinance and he sent the good faith to me. I looked at it and I said, you know what? You need to ask what this fee is because you have really good credit and if this is a repeat loan for the same company. Ask them if they're going to reissue title and waive this. And just by answering the email, the client saves $600. So that is the power of planning.
Yes, it is. So, Rita, what's changing in our industry that somebody who was new and is considering coming in needs to be aware of?
Sure. I mean, I've been a planner for 15 years, and I know there are lots of people who are going to listen to your show and learn about the profession. 15 years ago, of course, it was still intellectually as stimulating as it is today. It's still as emotionally gratifying as it is today. It's actually probably more gratifying today than it was back then because I can see the benefits of planning. I'm sending these little kids off to school. Actually, these kids are teenagers. I'm helping people get across the finish line for retirement. What has changed is I think it's a little bit harder to enter the profession. My advice to someone starting out today would be to learn the business from the inside out. So what I mean by that is work with a more established planner so that you don't have to be under pressure to get clients and you can learn how to do more analysis, learn how to do recommendations. I think the one thing that is probably more challenging now than it was 15 years ago was there's a lot more noise. It's easier for clients to get distracted because it's a 24-hour news cycle. So clients may hear a snippet. And I think you asked me a question earlier. How do we distinguish bad advice from good advice or good advice from bad advice? I'm always very polite and diplomatic. And when clients come to me with something they read in the news, I said, you know what, that might make sense. However, we have to see how that applies to your overall situation. So it's not that it's bad advice. It's just it's not advice that reflects their entire financial picture. So that's how we address that issue. So my advice and how I think the profession has changed is there's more of a 24-hour news cycle. The other thing that I think is quite interesting is I've seen this may not be the case all across the country, but back in the day, people didn't really understand that you could pay for advice, meaning usually financial planning was kind of like an afterthought. So if you purchased a product or give someone money to manage, you get planning for free. I think people are starting to understand. It's true, there's still a lot of people who don't understand, but the notion of separating financial advice from investment advice in certain areas of our country, it's become more popular or more acceptable. So I think that's important. So the long and short of it is, back in the day, a lot of times people would say, well, why do I want to pay for advice? Advisors would say, well, I'll give advice if you give me your money. Nowadays, people can buy products on their own and implement things. What's very valuable is the financial planning advice. It's not even so much the plan. A plan is the document that goes through the steps. But what is most valuable is the advice and the ongoing monitoring.
You know, that's completely true. Because your situation changes, because your finances changes, because your job changes, because where you live might change, all of those things are kind of life events that happen that need to perhaps be adjusted for. And to think that a financial plan is something that you do once and it's done is really a disservice to you and to the clients, because they're not getting the monitoring that is really key and critical for a great relationship with a financial planner.
Definitely. And I would say the other thing that you asked about the industry changing, I think this is really important for people who are pursuing careers. It's my wholehearted opinion that financial planning is an incredible career, especially for women. The average age of advisor is really getting up there. The average age of a financial advisor, I've seen some data that says 56, other data that says 58. The fact of the matter is there is a lack of qualified opportunities for today's graduates. Notice I said it's not like a lack of talent. It's a lack of opportunities. So it's really important for planners who love what they do and who are successful to really take the time to give back and mentor the next generation of planners so that more people, because it's going to be more important than ever. People are living longer. There aren't as many people who are going to have access to pensions or defined benefit plans. So planning for one's future is more important than ever.
Absolutely. So one of the things that you said was that, there'll be more opportunities for, new graduates in financial planning because of the current average age of financial planners, CFP professionals out there. So I know that you are part of an initiative within the CFP board to bring women in. Could you talk a little bit about that program?
Sure. So CFP board has seen impressive growth in the number of CFP professionals in the past recent years. However, the percentage of women has remained flat at 23% for at least a decade. Now, there are a lot of women who do pursue CFP certification. It is important to recruit women, but I think it's really important to retain women. And to address this challenge, in 2013, CFP Board launched its Women's Initiative, or WIN, under the vision and leadership of Nancy Kistner, a CFP professional, then chair of the CFP Board of Directors. And basically, WIN's mission is to identify why relatively few women choose to become part of the financial profession, to make recommendations for encouraging and supporting women to pursue careers in financial planning, and to undertake efforts and campaigns to address the feminine famine in financial planning. So I'm definitely passionate about the financial planning career, and I think it's an amazing career for women. When I entered the profession, my daughter was 3 years old and my son was 6 months old, and no one really knew what to do with me because they had never seen a mom enter the profession with small kids. And I'm going to be honest, it might have taken me a little bit longer to get off the runway, but I stopped making cold calls after 2 years. I didn't have to make cold calls anymore because I was so committed to making sure that the financial planning process was something that I would feel comfortable with, meaning if I were the client on the other side of the table. So I feel like the opportunity for women is amazing. I feel like the opportunity for multicultural women is even more amazing because women are rising in affluence and influence. You look at the percentage of undergraduate degrees and graduate degrees being awarded to women. Women are going to be more in control of their wealth. It does not mean that they don't want to work with the male advisor. We need male advisors. We need female advisors. The fact of the matter is we need more female certified financial planner professionals who are financial advisors.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And the one advice that you gave that I think really is applicable, and I've seen and I tell the students who talk to me about, is come up and work under somebody. I know oftentimes, the type of people who come into financial planning tend to be often will be kind of the alpha male, if you will, kind of mentality. And coming up under and working under somebody, it doesn't necessarily coincide with that. But you can learn so much by modeling and being mentored by somebody who has worked. And I definitely think that this is something that would be helpful for new graduates or women who were perhaps changing careers and coming into the profession to work with somebody. Allow yourself the opportunity to learn, analyze, and just be of service, and then move out into your own practice if that's what you decide to do. I've seen lots and lots of people who've stayed and developed really successful partnerships in some of the places that I've been, and it started with somebody who was willing to be mentored and somebody who was willing to mentor.
Absolutely. I think it's so important. The mentor can learn from the mentee, and the mentee can learn from the mentor. And just so you know, I've learned a lot from previous bosses and leaders, and I think we have to be courageous enough to try things and learn what works and what doesn't work. And we ultimately have to be true to ourselves and know, financial planning is very personal. And clients do business with people. And be yourself. I think one of the greatest assets I bring to the table is not all the letters after my name, but I know what the client is experiencing. I'm a mom of 3. I'm a daughter. I'm a caregiver. I'm a partner. I'm a working professional. So I think it's really important. Today's planner, or the planner of the future, doesn't just need technical competence, but they need to be more compassionate and more empathetic. And when you have time to learn the business from the inside out, working with someone, partnering with someone, you have time to develop those relationship skills that are really important.
Absolutely. So, Rita, this has been tremendous from my perspective. Why do you think that being a CFP professional is on the list of the top careers? Why do you think that more and more people should be seeking it out and perhaps going into our industry?
I'm so excited to hear that financial planner is on the list of top careers. And in my mind, what makes financial planning a top career is flexibility and freedom. So here's what I mean by flexibility. You can choose, and I understand some planners might be working for a large firm, but for the most part, you can choose what type of person you want to work with and how you want to work with them. That's pretty empowering. The other thing that makes it flexible, particularly for moms, is I would start my day when my children were younger and I'd work 9 to 3. I would have blackout time, meaning I couldn't do meetings from 3 to 6. And if I needed to do meetings in the evening, I did it one evening a week and then 2 Saturdays a month. So the freedom and flexibility to work with who you want, how you want, when you want, and where you want, I think that's huge. Second thing is it's not boring. It's not the same thing every day. You're always learning. And I love lifetime learning. I think that's what makes financial planning incredible. And then finally, you get to see the difference that great planning makes in the lives of your clients. And that's very comforting. Helping clients through happy times, so planning for weddings, the arrival of a baby, and more challenging times, the loss of a loved one, divorce, illness. But everyone can benefit from financial planning, and I think that's what motivates me.
You know, I find myself as you're talking, just nodding my head because I'm in agreement with so many things. I know that the flexibility that you talked about is something that I've been able to use multiple times in my practice, as when I got sick and had to go into the hospital, when my father got sick and went into the hospital, having the flexibility of being able to adjust my job, my situation when my husband got a new job, moved us across the country. The freedom. I loved being able, as a mother, to be able to take my girls to school every morning and then pick them up in the afternoons. That's been really important, so that I was able to be at more of their events than not. You know, I've never been an absentee mother, and I think that that's one of the things that, one of the freedoms that being a CFP professional has allowed me. And I love the concept of being able to make a difference. I think that that's the reason many of us go into the industry and stay in the industry for all the years that we've been, is the difference that we're able to make. And I also completely agree with the fact that you never know when somebody sits across the table from you. You have no idea what kind of difference you could make in their life, and the different types of cases. There is no day that is exactly the same as the day before. There's just too much difference in our clients and their situations and their needs for us ever to be there. So, you know, it's a great profession because we are never, ever, ever bored.
It's true, and I think this is also really important. Our work can exist at 3 levels: job, career, and calling. Financial planning is not just a job. A job is something transactional. We work a certain number of hours per week in exchange for a predetermined salary and employee benefits. So that's job. People with more ambitious professional aspirations tend to think of their work as more as a career, because the opportunity for advancement, both in terms of increased responsibility and financial compensation. Financial planning is a profession, but it's really a calling, because we find the work so meaningful to us that we derive value and satisfaction that surpasses the actual paycheck. And so I do believe there's not a single segment of our lives that is not managed by financial planning. And the employment of personal financial advisors is projected to grow. So that's another reason why CFP, or financial planner, is on that list of desirable careers.
Excellent. So, Rita, do you have any final thoughts for us?
So I would say, for anyone who is interested in wanting to know what it's like to be a planner, read as much as you can. You don't have to agree with everything you read, but definitely read. Visit CFP Board's website. So there's the professional site, which is www.cfp.net. The consumer site, which is letsmakeaplan.org. And of course, there's the industry associations, FPA, Financial Planning Associations. So check that out, www.onefpa.org. And then, of course, FPA has student chapters and young professional chapters. But I definitely make myself available to anyone who has any questions.
Great. Rita, so if someone had further questions that they wanted to ask you directly, how would they get a hold of you?
Sure, they can email me. I'm at mchang@blueoceanglobalwealth.com. And M Chang is M like Mary, C is in Charlie, H is in Harry, E is in Edward, N is in Nancy, G is in George, at blueoceanglobalwealth.com. The other thing is, if you go to our website, we have some CFP board materials there for people to read about what it's like to be a planner. And our website is www.blueoceanglobalwealth.com.
So if you need additional information about college funding, please visit our website at www.collegefundingresource. If you like this podcast, we invite you to go into our iTunes channel and leave a positive review. I'd like to invite our listeners to keep coming back to our Career 100 podcast to hear what other guests like Marguerite or Rita have to say about their chosen professions. Rita, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to today's edition of the Career 100 podcast. If you would like more information about planning and saving for college, please visit our site at www.collegefundingresource.com. That's www.collegefundingresource.com. This is Kathy Davis for the Career 100 podcast.